I have a world-renowned speaker with me today, Simon Sinek. Simon, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. Inspiring keynote this morning, really well done. All about leadership. From our side, what we're experiencing, in our research on the future of work, there's a leadership crisis out there. And I don't think anyone in the world has to go very far. You only have to switch on the television. If you're here in London, it's the politics of today. There was protesting yesterday about the health system and schooling and housing and stuff like that. And of course, we can't really talk about America. It's, the four people going for election at the moment. I think people have lost faith, and this is the basis of your conversation this morning.
Yeah.
So what do you think to the leadership crisis? Is it fixable?
Yeah, of course it's fixable, but it'll take time. Like anything that we want to have any lasting change, the change is more evolution, of which the results will be revolutionary. Revolutions tend to be sudden and violent, and there's usually a counter-revolution. But there definitely needs to be change. And remember, we got ourselves where we are today as a result of the 80s and 90s. It was these pioneering new ideas of how to run businesses, where you prioritize a shareholder, you stack and yank people, where if they're the top 10% you promote them, and if they're the bottom 10% you fire them, and that's contributing to stock value, and systematically for 20 years companies dismantled the cultures and environments, and they're suffering for it. You hear it, I'm sure also. Companies are saying our engagement numbers are low. They're having problems on the people side. They're having trouble with retention. Especially with the youngest generation, they don't stay. And that's not because the young generation wants to have 15 jobs in 10 years. That's because there's nothing for them to stay for. And if good cultures and good environments and good leadership were everywhere, then people would stay, they would offer their loyalty, engagement would be high. I mean, it's most of the things we hear talked about today, including traditional performance metrics, are usually the result of bad leadership.
Performance is broken though, and it doesn't seem to be, nothing seems to be coming along to replace it. I know the tech guys, especially the startups, they're all having a go at creating feedback tools. But I sense, even in our own organization, we've had struggles where teams have never learned to live together. And once you put them living together, the kind of natural thing to do is, as soon as they kind of hit a wall, okay, we want to be in a different room, we don't like them, let's be down here.
I think the tech world, for obvious reasons, is enamored with technology. And they think technology can replace everything human. I'm all in favor of digital, review, tools, et cetera, but they have to live alongside. And the problem is too often we use technology to replace. So you can't use a digital tool to get feedback for your company. The only way to truly understand is to wander the halls, get to know people, socialize, solve problems in a room, not over email. I think we forget that we're still human. And as much as we like the convenience of technology, it can never replace human beings.
And you're talking this morning about management or leadership by email and stuff like this. I think everyone in the world has kind of fallen foul to this and the distractions we live in.
And it's because it's easier for us. It's easier for me to send you an email than it is to get on the phone, because there's more anxiety on the phone than on an email.
Yeah, and it creates more problems.
And so this is the problem, which is we put ourselves at the center of the universe, forgetting that human relationships are built when we put other people at the center of the universe. Your relationship with your spouse won't do very well if you put yourself at the center of that relationship. Well, it's no different in an office. It's no different in business. If all we do is prioritize our interests, then the system, the relationships, necessarily will suffer.
And what's changed, do you think, in terms of leadership? What's become irrelevant?
Well, I think all too often the old Milton Friedman definition of business, that the purpose of business is to make money, is to maximize profits.
Stakeholder value.
And within the confines of the law. It's a very low standard, the confines of the law, because there's plenty of companies that are doing things that are really unethical, but totally legal. The laws aren't perfect. So I think that's not a high enough standard, quite frankly. And I think the definition of business, and that was one man's definition, which is convenient to a convenient definition to those who've exploited it. But I think we need a new definition of business, quite frankly. And it's not a very old definition of business. I'm sort of more of an Adam Smith guy, so.
Okay. And you talked about the army this morning. You know, just the sense of leadership there is different because you're protecting human beings.
When in combat situations, it's amazing how well the different sister services work together. The Army, Navy, Marines, and Air Force. They work brilliantly together. It's like clockwork because the stakes are human. The stakes are lives, right? And protecting innocent lives as well when they're asked to do their jobs. But when they come back home, they fight like cats and dogs and they're all over each other because the stakes, for some reason, maybe they sense that they're different because there are no more lives. But the problem is that all the rules of leadership are the same. And so when we remember that the stakes are always human, I think it increases our sense of responsibility. But overall, I think the business world could learn a lot from them. And the business world misunderstands how they work. You know, break them down and build them up is not how they do things. You know, it's not. And the business world thinks there's this super strict hierarchy where all you do is you do as you're told, and nothing could be further from the truth. It's just not like that.
Okay, so on that note, if you look at some of the models that are out there, like Tony Hsieh from Zappos, he's trying the
holacracy.
The holacracy, and there's hierarchy. There's a bunch of stuff going on out there. I was in San Francisco last year, and one of the things that intimidated me about America, I hadn't been there for a while, was that, you know, everyone's especially in San Fran, everyone's talking about startups. They're serial entrepreneurs. You know, it's kind of almost not good enough to have one or two startups. You're kind of going for 11 or 20.
Yeah.
And the conversation is all about work and work and work and work, and kind of, well, the work-life idea, you know, is kind of, you know, it is what it is now. Life and work have blended in together, so I don't even know if we need to call it work-life anymore. But we've tried to investigate that. When I've talked to people that have come from Zappos, and I guess, you know, you have to be internally and talking to Tony to get a sense of what it's really like over there. But I think a lot of people believe it's kind of too early. It's like the Chinese saying, the first bird to fly is the first one to get shot down. So it's great to try these new things, but it's been a kind of struggle. So you're talking about a change in an economic model.
It allows you to do the jobs you'd like to do and have some say in the direction of your own career. Yeah. And to Tony's credit, and this is the thing that I admire about Tony, he has a courage that very few CEOs have. I mean, he's got a very big, very successful company, and that he's willing to risk it all on this new idea. Yes. And they did some trials first. It wasn't just out of the gate. But he did the trials and went to the whole company very quickly, and he admits that they don't have it all figured out, and I really admire that. It may or may not work. They admit that it may or may not work. But what I love about Tony is he understands that the traditional models won't work anymore. What worked then won't work now, and he's willing to bet his company to experiment with new forms, and whether it fails or succeeds, he will pioneer new ways in which our companies are organized, and I think that's pretty admirable. Because if you think about most popular public companies these days, where CEOs say stupid things like, you know, we had to have redundancies. I had no choice. Really, no choice? You know, or many of the CEOs of public companies, you know, the pressure from outside and from the stock markets is overwhelming, and I'm sympathetic to the intensity of the pressures they must have, but the courage to stand up to those pressures and to do what you think is the right thing to do, despite the fact that it may be unpopular in the short term, that's what Tony's doing, and that's what I admire.
Yeah. Does it come with getting too big you talked about banks this morning as well? They're easy to pick on. Politicians.
Money is addictive.
Politicians and banks, yeah.
Money is addictive.
Money and power.
Money is addictive, and anybody who's made any knows that when you start making a lot of it, you want more of it. Right. And you become very protective of the stuff that you have. When you have none of it, you seem, you know, it's a little different.
It's easy to talk.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And money's addictive. I mean, there's no getting around it. So again, there's balance. There's balance. There's nothing wrong with money per se, but if you're willing to sacrifice people in order to get it, that kind of thing doesn't breed loyalty. That doesn't last a lifetime. And if it does last, those people aren't very often happy. They take a bowl of pills in the morning to get through the day. So it comes with a cost. It comes with a cost. But both sides come with a cost. The question is, which one are you willing to pay? You know, your wealth, you know, sacrifice some of your interest in order to take care of the lives of others, to stay healthy and happy and love your life, or to sacrifice all your love, all your happiness, all your joy put your health at risk to see a slightly higher number at the end of the day and the bank ledger.
Have you ever been guilty of that? Like my personal experience, like I've had health issues because I'm that guy that you were talking about this morning. It's leadership when you can do it badly sometimes.
It affects you.
It's eating that McDonald's hamburger every day without. It's a silent killer,
It
right?
doesn't just affect the people you're leading, it affects you dramatically. It is stressful to be that leader.
It's not easy.
It is not easy. And I've suffered all of these things. That's why I've written these books and give these talks. It's my own personal journey.
Exactly,
I've been on both sides of the equation.
Yeah.
So I can say with first-hand experience, I like this better. And I'm still not perfect, and I still work hard every day, and I still get a lot of things wrong. I don't consider myself an expert in leadership at all. I consider myself a student of leadership.
Right.
And though my study may be more advanced than others, I still have so much to learn. So I'm a student of leadership, and I'm fascinated by it, absolutely fascinated by it.
It's nice to hear that. That's humbling, and yet so inspirational this morning, that speech that you've given. It's kind of, just feel the clap going on a little bit longer. And just on that note, you know, we all a lot of us go through life, we're looking for our purpose and meaning, and especially the younger generation coming through at the moment. What's Simon Sinek's, what's your purpose? Is there, you know, are you able to talk out loud about that?
Sure,
you know,
easily.
What are you looking to change in the world?
Absolutely. I wake up every single morning with a very clear sense of purpose. It's to inspire people to do what inspires them, so together we can change our world. And I have a very clear vision of the world I want to live in. I would like to live in a world in which the vast majority of people wake up every single morning inspired to go to work, they feel safe when they're there, and they come home at the end of the day fulfilled by the work that they do. And I've committed all of my work, and it doesn't matter what form it takes, whether it's speaking or writing or teaching or advising, or it doesn't even matter what form it takes, in some way, shape or form to help advance that vision and move closer and closer to it. And my friends are my allies. You know, we're part of an army that are trying to build this world together. That's why I come to conferences like this. It gives me a bully pulpit to share that vision with the hope that some of the companies in the room will start to change the way they at least view what they're doing and change the way they do things, because I'm just a preacher. That's all I am. Unless companies actually affect the change, my vision will never come to life. And so well I know that. So it's going to take a lot of us, and we all play a different part. We all play pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, and of which I'm just one piece.
Cool. Bon voyage.
Thank you very much. Thanks
Simon
for being a part of it.
Thank you very much. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to have you here today.
Thanks for giving me a stage to share my ideas.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.